at the moment.
Yeah, I have the issue at hand.
Amazing. Thanks, Marco.
Yeah. Um,
And what you said, I totally remember that you've been implementing the Finder.
yeah,
You've got that issue with the authorization N
yeah,
plus one. If N plus one might not be the right term, but basically, yeah, doing the auth before doing the pagination, just yeah, it's a tricky one basically.
yeah, it's pretty much impossible. No, it's really impossible because the only other instance where you have that are to-dos.
And
And
you own to dos belong to someone, right? So
yeah, they belong to someone, but it you can see them what you have various conditions on whether or not you can actually see a to-do,
yeah.
at least the content of a to-do. So yeah, that's pretty much this exactly same issue.
But we had a back in pairing session, didn't we, where we bounced around and came up with so let's rewind just for the viewers, the listeners,
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call them. So time logs bug, if you've got the issue, feel free to share your screen, Marco. But yeah, time log bug with the global time tracking report where it basically comes up blank, but it thinks that there's records there, like the paging buttons are there to be able to page to the next page, etc. And when we've sort of dug into it, we're fairly confident the problem is that that it comes back to say, oh, I found hundreds of thousands of records, but they then get filtered out at a later stage, when we try and not exactly render them, but when we try and actually return them from GraphQL. So the the count and the pagination sort of says, oh, there's hundreds of thousands. But then when we start to try and return them with GraphQL, it then does the authorization check and says, oh, no, you can't see that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And it maybe returns one or two, or maybe even none at all because it's rendered them all out. So we had a pairing session, and where did we get to?
So just to give you an idea on what's exactly happening is when you write, and this is, I'm pretty sure this is valid also for the REST API.
Mhm.
So basically, in GitLab, you have the GraphQL resolver that's using usually a Finder, and that Finder could be relying on a service or might be doing the queries itself. So 99% of the times you implement the authorization checks inside of the Finder. So basically,
Mhm.
for things like issues, we want to filter out confidential issues for users that don't have at least reported access to a project, and that's
Yeah.
done at the Finder level. Um, because what's happening is that the Finder returns basically the whole list. Like if you do a SQL query and you get the complete result sets of the query, then the result of the Finder is returned by the GraphQL resolver to the actual response. But there's the pagination middleware in between. The pagination middleware basically strips down that complete set to return only a limited amount of records. After that, there's how could we call it, a safety net to ensure that nothing escapes. Basically, that nothing that the user shouldn't be able to see escapes from GraphQL or the REST API endpoint. And that happens after the pagination has happened. So basically, it could, if you don't uh, do the authorization checks at the Finder level, and you let GraphQL do the safety net thingy, you could end up with the pagination that returns For example, you have 100 return values that should be returned. Pagination occurs, and that 100 elements gets cut down to 20. Then the authorization checks are put in place, and turns out that out of those 20 elements, you can see none. So
Yeah.
basically, you have pagination that tells you, okay, you are seeing 20 elements,
Hmm.
and you have a next page, or if you're already on the second page, you also have a previous page. You have other fields, for example, the count. They happen before pagination. So basically, if you, like we have on the time logs, we return the number of time logs that should be returned by the global query. And that also that count also is happening before the authorization checks of the safety net are put in place. So you basically have the end result of 0 elements, but the pagination thingy is telling you that you should have elements. And that's pretty much an idea on what's happening under the hood.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't remember why I started explaining the whole situation.
No, it's fine. Going back was really helpful, and I found Jesse's note from 2 months ago, which is when we had our back end pairing session, and we said, well, the way to make this to make it simple
Yeah,
is that an instance admin we know has access to everything, so we can let them do a proper global time tracking report. For
yeah,
anyone that's not on instance admin, we want them to have to basically select a single group,
yeah.
and or it could be a project or a group, and if it's a group, then they've got permission to that group. Again, that cascades down, so we know that none of the records should be filtered out.
Pretty much that's the idea for time logs. The only other instance that we found that has this authorization issue has to do with to-dos.
Mm-hmm.
And in that situation, we cannot do this trick or
Yeah.
work. But yeah, for time logs, that's the idea that we came up during pairing, because yeah, if we ensure that the user running the time log report has at least the reporter role for a project or a group, then they basically the filter is would let through all the items.
Yeah. So am I right in thinking the biggest problem is that we haven't actually added the group and projects filter in yet? So we need to actually add that functionality before we can sort of limit both the UI and the back end to enforce that restriction that we want to enforce upon them.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. Well, we could work around this. Well, no, we don't, because for self-hosted instances, if we basically would just need to tell an admin to run the report, and they wouldn't have any issue getting the full list. But yeah, the idea is that we should add the group, project, or if we want to make it generic, the namespace selector on the time tracking report, so that we list only the.
Yeah. Have you got a good, do you know a good one? Because the last time I came across not this problem, but I basically wanted to add a namespace selector. I couldn't find a reusable one that was suitable. Have you used one recently or aware of one that we might be able to use?
Uh, Let me check, because
And then I've
probably, probably because when I worked on porting the to-dos page to a Vue application, I think I did use
remind myself of
project or group selector. Let's see. Let's try to enable the to-do view application locally. And here we go. So okay, Rails console. And I don't remember the name of the feature flag. To-dos.
What's the global time tracking report? What's the view component? Do you remember? So I'm finding the time tracking report.
Should be the
You
Timelogs app view under the time tracking components.
Time logs app. Perfect. That's it. Got it. Thank you. I was trying to remind myself what the get time logs query.graphql and if it awesome. So we've already got project ID and group ID as parameters. So we might not need to make massive changes in the back end. And in fact, I think we can already. I could raise or you or I could raise an MR now for the back end. So I guess it's the resolver logs where we could basically raise an exception if a user tries to run this without providing a project ID or a group ID, and they're not an admin, and we could raise an exception if they try and run it for a group or project of which they're not a member with at least X permission.
Yeah.
Awesome. As well as, so one of us could potentially work front end and one could work back end. Okay, cool.
Is this view? Oh, come on. How can I find this?
Really sucks that you can't share multiple screens at the same time. I'd love for us to like you to work on the front end, me to work on the back end, and us to be able to.
Yeah, that would be nice. Add to the view application. That's my MR. Okay, let's do it the simplest way. Feature flag.
You still nudging that along the to-dos view application?
It actually got picked up by the notification team.
Awesome.
Yeah, they resurrected my POC from almost a year ago, and I'm pretty impressed by the fact that it was able to be rebased on top of main, on top of master, and without
major. Nice.
So it should be features, feature enable and ID of feature. Okay. Why are you not?
Use the sexy new feature flag UI.
Oh yeah, I never used that. What's the URL?
Oh, now you're asking. I know it. I promise I know it. Slash Rails. So slash Rails, don't need the little dash. Just slash Rails slash features.
Oh, okay. Why am I not seeing it then? Choose view application.
Oh, did you have any to-dos?
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
But I mean, you should be able to, what? View index. Why is this? There's a view function on the controller. get view. Should I? Oh, okay.
Did it
So
just
yeah,
take a while?
no. I had to add view to the path.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I
Now,
wonder.
now you've got me thinking. Oh no, the flag won't be enabled, will it? Last. I wonder
Yeah,
if
I think
can
we
I
thought.
do that in production?
Nah. Okay.
No, no.
I think they did this only to avoid having to turn on and off the flag. Anyway,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, cool.
there's these group and project drop downs that I was able to use in here. So
I'm
we,
fine with it. Actually, makes our life easier having them separate. I was thinking of having like a combined like namespace type drop down, but having them
the
separate makes life easier, right?
and that's coming from to do's view to do up
I'm gonna do a GDK update foolishly while we're.
filter bar and
Hey Raymond,
hi Raymond.
Hey folks, how's it going?
I must have known you about to join. I just kicked off GDK update. um, yeah, have you got any ideas? So Raymond was helping me with this iNotify. Are you better explaining them? Like I said, it's some Linux file watcher thing that helps for like hot reloading and stuff.
Yes, I think so. Max user watches defines the maximum number of folders which can be watched for file changes. Subfolders are counted separately, so everything is handled. Now, the defaults are usually quite low. And way back in 2017, this was updated in as a requirement in GDK to be a much higher number.
That's right. It's actually in like either the installation doc or the troubleshooting doc or something somewhere,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because I said to Marco, this is something I've experienced, I think, since I installed it, like in Vagrant on Windows, like 7 or 8 years ago. I've always had this sort of challenge, but normally it was more of a warning than a blocker. Today's the first time I remember seeing like an outright, no, I'm not going to work because this number. So yeah, I followed so I'm now running it as a container inside of Rancher Desktop. And I tried a long time ago to tweak that number in Rancher Desktop and failed. Raymond gave me a one-off command earlier to run in Rancher Desktop's shell. And that worked lovely. But then we're trying to figure out how we can sort of permanently tweak that setting. And you had some joy by the sounds of it, Raymond.
Yeah, I have.
I did not.
So I just dropped the original FS iNotify Max User Watches GDKMR into Discord. But yeah, so
perfect. Thank you.
we tracked down a thing for Rancher Desktop where you can tell Rancher Desktop to do some magic when when things start up. One of those bits does some provisioning. Now there was a fix posted on a Rancher Desktop discussion back in 2022 where somebody was asking about is there a way to do it, and then somebody posted a way to say, yeah, there's this is a way you can set something. Now there is the fix that was posted originally was actually a fix for a different limit. So that's the open file limit. So if you just copy that fix as it was, that doesn't work so well. But if you then go and manually or tweak it a little bit so that you create a sysctl file with the correct number of watches in it, and then tell sysctl to reread that file, it should work.
Okay,
And-
so what I'm going to do quickly is in RDCTL, I'm gonna so if I try and cat that etc sysctl.d / fs.inotify.com, if I try and
Yeah.
cat that in RDCTL shell,
Yep.
it doesn't exist.
Okay,
gonna
so then check your override file is configured correctly.
So how can I do that other than,
Okay, so outside your RDCTL,
yeah.
Do you want to just swap the screen share quickly?
Yeah, of course, I'm just gonna make sure I haven't got anything fun open. Right, that should
Just
be
bringing up,
pretty.
just share a terminal window should be good.
I'm gonna share one screen just so that we can. So this is the one that's got the override, and that's after the override, and then
Yeah. Okay. So your override file looks good. It's got a provisions section. Under that mode system, it pops that script in. Okay. All right. So have you restarted Rancher Desktop?
yes, I have. Let me just see how my GDK update's going in terms of giving it another reboot.
Right, of course. Yeah, you don't want to.
takes-
You don't exactly
so-
want to.
I mean, it's
update
only
that.
doing a poll, so actually, you know what? I'm just going to kill it. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I have, but let's just do it again. Try and
No,
do
no, no.
some.
I'm not saying just restart. Don't
Yeah,
restart
but
your
I'd
container.
rather do it gracefully.
Okay.
I suppose killing Rancher will obviously kill the container, but
Yeah.
I
So
just tend to
yeah.
stop it
Once
first.
your containers stop, just mac queue on. Yeah. So it's stopping
Absolutely,
services.
absolutely, yeah, no, that's exactly what I did. So I'd be quite surprised if it magically starts working now, but I guess kind of happy at the same time.
Because what happens? Uh, the docs on that override file are a little bit thin on the ground. But maybe that's because they're not Rancher Desktop docs. They're actually, we need to look under the Lemur side of
Lemur,
things.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah, but effectively that provision script runs after the system's up. So we're not affecting the startup of that VM. We're affecting the system after the system starts it up. So by making a change to that sysctl file, we make that change to the live file. So then we have to tell sysctl, hey, you actually need to go and read that file. Yeah, you
Still
want to.
not seeing it.
Is this a fresh shell since you?
Yeah, because
Yes.
it
Okay.
killed when I
No,
obviously
you're not in your. Oh, you are.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Let me just
Okay. So now you're
yes,
on your
I'm out
desktop.
and I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Just just while you're here, cat etc/os os
Just
dash
that.
os dash tab os release. Okay, so it is an Alpine. It is the same kind of Alpine as mine. Let me just check. Oh, my Rancher Desktop is down. Just give me a second. It's starting. Okay. Do you have etc sysctl inside there? sysctl.d, and you've only got a readme in there.
Looks like it, doesn't it?
That's very strange. So the only weirdness I can see is in your YAML, that override YAML, that line 2 down has an extra indent on it, which shouldn't make a
Yes,
difference.
my Visual Studio automatically did that. I did notice that, but yeah, it's worth like tweaking, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't make a difference, but who knows? We don't know what YAML
Absolutely. So
marshalling it's
let's
using or
paste
whatever.
that in. Have you got a new line at the end of yours?
Probably. Give me a sec. I'm inside my own shell. Let's get it out. I don't have a new line at the end.
Okay, let's get rid of that as well then.
Again, shouldn't make a difference, but
Yeah, I think that's interesting. So what are we like? This seems like hugely overcomplicated, right? Don't we just want to literally echo that to there, or
yeah, you probably could do it that way.
I was trying to understand what. Yeah, like this is basically saying just cat everything from here into
Yeah,
this, which
this
because
is
it's a one-liner, it
it's
doesn't
a
really
handy
need.
syntax if you've got multiple lines,
Yeah,
which I was adapting an existing
absolutely. Cool,
solution
cool, cool.
that had multiple lines. But yeah, absolutely, should be good enough
Okay.
just to echo that. Oh.
If not, I might even try, although I guess, yeah, it's like, is it that it's not executing this, or is it that it's executing it, but it's not working? But you did give me a command just to run, so I could just run and put that command in here directly as well, right?
So I did that one. That one worked
Okay.
also, but
So,
this is probably the more correct way of doing things, just in the sense that you then have a record in your file system as to why that
right. So
that
we're out, we're in
item
my
was changed.
MacBook, we're in the shell. The file still doesn't exist.
So
So yeah,
okay,
let's try.
so change that up then, right? Okay, get rid of the cat line.
Yeah.
So get rid of line 5. Get rid of line 6, and then at the beginning of line 5, just make that sysctl space -w,
Do you
and then
know
you
what?
can get rid of line 6.
Um, really? So all I'm thinking is, what's the command that you gave me earlier on?
Sysctl -w fs notify Emacs user watches.
Okay.
I gave it to you with a sudo, which you shouldn't need because this is being injected into system provisioning. So this is being done as root.
Yeah. Okay. And we don't need to sort of tell it to
Yeah,
reload
you don't need to
because.
tell it to reload because -w is a command that says set this sysctl attribute
Okay.
directly.
Okay.
The P is to say reload, go and read this file to find out what attributes to set.
Cool. 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 Just can't think what could be different. Like file permissions on this override.yaml.
Shouldn't be.
It doesn't seem. So that I'm no point in looking for. I basically want to run that one.
Yeah, that just reads. So that'll go read your
Still
values.
no go. To me, it's saying that this file just isn't getting picked up, right? The override.yaml.
Yeah. So um, just drop to your shell and just cat that file. Almost as if you've got it in an ever so slightly wrong location.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not auto completing. So I think something's happened funny there with your
Is
path.
it? Yeah.
That seems to be the problem. What user is that
Is this?
VS Code running as?
Better. What?
There's your problem.
But I mean, it very clearly says here, right?
Yes.
What?
Are you not running under a dev container or something like that?
No. Okay then. Okay, so let's go back to the old school now. That didn't work. Oh, why is P in the clipboard? Okay. Reboot again. I reckon. Yeah, I didn't know that was even possible. It's actually created that as a relative path rather than an absolute path.
Ah,
Because I noticed that it was trying to check in. Now let's just check whether has this done the same thing. No, it hasn't, weirdly. That's bizarre. Really bizarre.
there you go. Well, that explains
Well, yes and
some
no.
of the
Just yet
some of the
another.
lunacy.
So yeah, absolutely, yeah. Explains one bit.
And out of interest, that again just dropped on Discord. The those are the Lima defaults. So that override YAML, you can anything that's in that defaults file, I suppose you can override.
Okay, yeah.
So if you want some
Woohoo.
more docs around what you can do with those
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's
override,
that's perfect. That works. Yeah,
it
I
just helps to have the
mean,
file in the right place.
yeah, but I mean, it's one thing, as I say, the first thing was totally understandable when I did this and it was opening that as the file.
Yeah.
But I have no idea why this, or more importantly, this behaves differently in ZSH there. And what am I running in? Is this, yeah? Oh, this is
Well,
It's
you're in
SSH
RDCT,
now,
you're inside RDCTL, yeah.
but is ZSH? Yeah,
It's
I don't
ZSH.
understand why they behave differently, but hey, it works. That's all that matters. So awesome.
It could be that because you've quoted it, ZSH isn't interpreting the tilde,
But then
so
I quoted
it's
it
relying on the application to interpret the tilde in the path. Cat's
right,
interpreting that correctly. Code
but
isn't.
then yeah, okay, yeah, I'll go with that. How's it going, Marco?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
You want me to share back? I was
Yeah.
following.
No, that's fine. It's yeah. It was a poor file system troubleshooting session essentially in the end, but
So I found a couple of things. So I went back to the to-dos application like we saw before and found that I was using both the group select and the project select. So we have an option for using those.
yep.
And looks like they're also flexible enough to allow us to basically set the minimum access level we want to get the
Nice.
groups and project. Well, at
Cool.
least groups project I didn't check. So I added the drop down to the time tracking report, which is
To be fair, we could start just with group anyway, right?
yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I was testing it out, but it complains because I'm passing the group ID as the number ID, not the what's the form?
GraphQL ID.
Exactly. So I
Mhm.
was trying to remind myself there was a tool to,
Yeah.
but I cannot remember where that was.
Let me find. I
Uh,
mean, this it's definitely like convert. If we look at
there's a
you know,
comment.
like I would probably look for usage, so just grep for like convert GraphQL or something like that. It's probably like convert to GraphQL ID or from GraphQL ID. Or, so yeah, just pop a little wildcard in the middle there.
Or
See if you've turned wildcard search off though.
oh, convert.
So you've got convert to GraphQL ID. There you go.
And this is coming from this. So convert to GraphQL ID. Null if blank. I can do this. I can do it this way. If data should be the type,
Yeah.
and the type is coming from the type name iteration. Let's say constants. Is there a type name group?
Yeah, 2 lines above.
Yes. So this and where did I get? Come on. And this one and this one. Looks. Okay, let's see if that works.
Beautiful.
So now I should see to report.
Defaults to any.
Yep. And if I do this, shouldn't find anything. Perfect. And if I do this, it should work. Yay.
Nice. Nice. Made it look easy.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I need to make a quick call, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll stop my screen share so you can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm probably going to do my GDK update again, otherwise. Now Marco's put the pressure on me to do the back end, although saying that there's no reason why I'm doing GDK update while I can't start work on it. So you missed I'll do the super fast version of what we were actually working on or why we were working on. So we have this real like annoying problem with time logs, how the authorization check is really quite complex, because it depends on like, is the issuable that it's attached to, if it's an issue, is it confidential? If it's a merge request, obviously we don't need to do that check. Then we need to say, has the user got access to the issuable? Which they might have direct access, they might have access via some other means. If it's confidential issue, you might be the assignee, which means you have access. So the number of checks you have to do for authorization is insane. And at the moment, the time logs and a safe binder isn't doing any authorization checks. So it will return all of the time logs, but then when we use GraphQL to then send that back, it then basically checks each one before it sends it back. And it's paginating before it does that check. So it's basically taking 20 time logs that you can't see for the first page or 100 and checking the permissions and saying, you can't see that, you can't see that, you can't, and basically filtering them all out and then just returning you an empty set saying, here's 100. There's another page, ask for the next page if you want it, but not actually returning any data. But trying to move the auth check before the pagination would just basically make it explode, because it would then need to check all of those, bazillion time logs before paginating. So we've had to sort of make a bit of a, I don't know what you want to call it, a best guess sort of attack to say, okay, if they're an admin, then fine, don't need to worry about it. If they're not an admin, then only allow them to get time logs for a group that they're a member of. And then we kind of can forego all of the authorization checks, because if they're a member of the group, then they're a member of all the projects, they have access to all the issuables, and we're good to go. So yeah, I said, Marco, you did the front end, so there's pressure now on me to do the back end.
Yeah, but I was thinking, do we really want to have this different behavior?
What different behavior between the REST API and the GraphQL API, or?
No, between the admin and non-admin.
I think so.
You think so? Because isn't this going to create like, how should we let the user know?
So,
because
good
if
question.
you go for, you have to at least select a group or a project, that's easy because that's the standard behavior. Otherwise, we would need to let the user know that if they are an admin, or rather, if they're not an admin, they need to select a group or a project.
I think that's okay. So we have a ready method, right? That we have to call super on it. It's a long time since I've so we can do Something like star that combines everything into a single thing, does it? So we can do like don't
We
even know if you.
have a validate args.
What's that? Sorry.
We already have a validate args function, so maybe we can reuse that.
Yeah, good point actually. And maybe this should all happen in. Does it manipulate anything, or does it just? No, I don't think so.
No.
Just raises an argument error. So,
Which I think is fine because we should raise an argument error when you're not an admin, and yeah, let the user know that they have to specify a group or project ID.
so try my luck. Probably not the best word, but I'll do. So then, now I've got to remember what we do in terms of or. Because we don't want to raise an error to say that they haven't got permission, right? Or do we? I can never remember what we do, the difference between like a 404. I think it's a be not found exception, right? So
it's neither of those because it's GraphQL. It's always going to return at 200.
Yeah, but this knows this doesn't return a non-200 response, right? It presumably, yeah. So we should raise yeah user going to be wrong, right? Oh no, it looks like it might be right actually. Or isn't there an authorized find? I don't know if this is quite.
Authorized find works with the check that
ID only, right? Or not?
Yeah, ID only, but if I remember correctly, it works by using the check that you specify on the time log result, on this case, the time log result.
Gotcha, yeah. But if we look at what the definition is, then we can maybe see what error it's using.
Maybe we don't need to try to have a look at the time log finder.
Resource not available error. I think that's what we want, right?
Yeah, but try to have a quick look at the time log finder because I think that we already handled that.
Well, yes and no. Even if we were checking.
Find by ID.
No, we're not. And even if we were, it's not the finder shouldn't know about GraphQL, right? So
yeah, it would just return. Yeah,
it probably return empty would be the honest truth if we were doing, but it doesn't look like we're doing auth in there anyway, I don't think. So files group ID. So we want to do that. Unless current user can.
Which one?
That's an interesting.
We don't
So we
have.
haven't loaded the group yet, have we? And is there a regroup time?
No, there's no read group time log. It's just read time logs, I think. Maybe not. Oh, probably because the time log policy is how's it called? It's like
It's time log category, yeah.
it's using the issue or issuable issuable policy. It's redirecting to the issuable policy.
Yeah.
Does that check exist, or reported access was a condition?
Good question. Well, we're doing can reporter access, so I think it does.
Yep.
So do we need to do a?
I'm very happy that you decided to work on the backend, because this is going to check for N+1s all the time.
No, it's not. No, I don't think it is.
But
because it's a single group or a single project, right?
Yes, but when you request more than one time log, it will. Oh, wait. No, that's right, because it's one request.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to start preparing lunch in the meantime.
Yeah. So do we get the object and then we offer? Okay, we don't do anything clever. Find object. No idea where. Oh, go schema find by GID ID. Okay. Probably completely wrong, right? But
By the way, you remember the question that I made you this morning?
no. Go on.
For VS Code. And you suggested.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I disabled that, and it did go down quite a lot.
Okay. Did you like quit VS Code, like all instances, and relaunched it to, or?
I only had one, so
You have one, yeah. That's main, like, I don't know if you're running a new version, if I'm running a new version, or
I'm on the latest version of VS Code, but yeah, for double check, I'm going to re-enable that and make sure if
see if it happens again. Like, I didn't see if anyone solved it, but I'm not seeing that issue as far as I'm aware. So all I'm wondering about here is how we then pass these args later on. Find a params. It's one of those things, but like part of me is you know, we go and grab the group, and you know that's a query, right? That's an SQL query, and then we're going to go and do it again later in the finder, probably.
But if you have a look a little bit up inside of Finder params function, we do args group ID at model ID. Is that implying that args group ID now has the model inside?
No, I think it's because it's a GraphQL ID, and we want to convert it to a.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I see what you
I
mean.
think.
Yeah, so
So
our group ID would be a GraphQL ID, which has the model ID property.
exactly.
Okay.
So by group.
Yeah, because here we do the find.
Oh. Oh yeah, but we're not doing any permission. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's my only slight like, but we have that pattern in a lot of places. I think it's a bit of a what can you do? So have we got a spec request time log resolver?
We should have it. We should have an API spec, yeah. Not
It's
for
not
the
GraphQL though, is it? And this one specifically for group
yeah,
time
but
logs through.
this one should cover all you need, I guess.
Then how does it, if we're going through group, does it do something clever where it says, so let's have a look, group type, time logs is using resolvers, time log resolver. Yes, we're passing in the object there. Ah, interesting. Okay, so actually, if object is something like that,
Unless object.
is object the parent?
I think so, yes, because that can be either a. It might not be. Oh wait. It might not be just a group or a project because time logs can also be associated.
User.
No, but issuables.
Okay, but all of those scenarios are fine, right? So that's what we want.
Not really.
Oh, actually, look, it is specifically expecting an issuable. So how is it handling if you do like group.time logs?
I don't remember.
uh, maybe it isn't. Maybe we've introduced a bug.
Maybe we initially thought about handling the issuable and then we added support for group and projects.
I don't know. I think that the where is it? Group type. Like I think time logs has been available. That wasn't what I wanted. On here for like 10 years or something crazy. 4 years ago.
Yeah, definitely before me.
So the question is, does that actually work? Which I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to. Uh, so group. You do groups. Yeah. Nodes, time logs, ID. Okay, so it's definitely working. So how, what? Oh, wrong base. Like JS, oh, there's a surprise. Has some time logs. So where on earth is it? It's time logs finder.
How is it using the issuable inside of the Finder?
Question.
Does group
Okay, so issuable is just poorly named.
Yep.
It's okay. It's not really true either, is it?
timeline? Let's call it source or owner.
Parent.
Parent. Okay. And
We don't really need attribute readers, do we? We'll find out. Oh, because you've not used the app to access them, so
yep.
okay. Parent, params, issuable. No more references, should be good.
And so just to double check, does the group model has the time logs method?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, there it was.
Yeah. Okay.
That's an interesting sort of, cyclic, whatever you want to call it. So I should be able to ask for time logs. There's no way this is going to work first time, but hey. And this is when the GDK update is suddenly going to kick in and.
Okay.
It's because it had to do that quick recompile, I guess, because I made a change to the source. Yep. Mark, I'm sure you're aware, but I don't know if you need to run or if you still got a few minutes.
I'm waiting for the pasta to cook.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, if I impersonate someone. Come on. Which I wouldn't have been able to do if Raymond didn't turn up on time because it just kept falling over every time, and then I had to keep hitting refresh, and then eventually it'd be like, oh, okay, then I'll let you. Although I've been getting that actually today, just today.
Okay, chaps, I'm gonna need to drop off.
No worries, Raymond. Thanks for joining us.
Glad we sorted out your rancher.
Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate that. Cheers.
No worries.
Bye,
Cheers.
Raymond. Bye. Okay. Why did that?
I think it's doing like a get rather than a post or something silly like that. Why it's doing that, I don't know, but that's good, right? That's what I want.
Yeah, try to provide a group ID. Gid.
I'm just gonna try and break it first.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I don't think it should fail catastrophically like that, right?
Yeah, because that's the wrong type.
So what I would suggest we do is rather than this is do what we're doing.
I think that won't matter because it's the param for the resolver that's not being fixed. Like you're passing in a wrong, is it?
Yeah, but I'm sure it would say, I'm going to just try group.find and then that dot model ID. Although I just realized if you're doing that in here, no, you're not. Where did I see? Ah, okay. Find a params. Cool, 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 cool. Come on.
3, 2, 1, go. No, didn't work.
The other thing, obviously. Oh, that could definitely have broken it.
You're updating GDK?
Yeah. But it was doing a GDK pull for ages. So I think while it was pulling, or GitLab pull, oh no, actually, I would expect that to break. Perfect. Yeah, that did fix the error.
Oh, okay.
So I'm glad. Now I'm racing GDK update.
Pretty much.
Race. So, although shouldn't it fail when it tries to like check out master and can't because I've got changes or?
That's a good question.
We'll see. We'll soon find out.
We could also make a small tweak probably to the code that checks and returns the error.
Flight.js. What's the
GDK is not happy. Oh, it is.
it's not too stressed. Not too right. So I can't even see flight in
Wow.
there, right?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, it's limited to 20.
Oh, okay. No,
No, why?
I think it must just not be a public accessible project, maybe.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Who was the user that I was using there? Reported user 13.
Flight is public unless you change it.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. Really? Ah, I've renamed it rock, paper, scissors. It's
Really?
group 33.
Why?
um, because who was I having a I reviewed a merge request that did something supposedly clever where it pre-populated a box with the group name based on the group path. And I sort of said, yeah, it's not really the best idea because the group path doesn't necessarily have any correlation to the group name whatsoever. And that's how I demonstrated it.
With Flight, which is the only project that we all have.
Oh, I don't know about the only one we all have, but definitely the one that we
all
use. Yeah. So okay, so it sort of worked, but it's not a GraphQL error that we want. So
I wonder if it's because we don't really have the reported access policy. Not policy, but
no, I think it's all good. I think it's just
error.
that this method that we're calling here isn't okay to call in a resolver in a GraphQL world. Although that's odd because we do it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's not reported access that you should use.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right. No, yeah. So it's not saying that you haven't got it. It's saying that this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Um,
How do we do it?
I was expecting a solution, not a problem, Marco.
Where can we?
I mean, we could just create a read time log.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Should we though? Yeah, basically, if the user has reported access, then read time log is true.
Yeah. But then if we start messing around with the policy, then I've got to write specs for changing the policy. And it's like, why
So
me? Why me? Let's have a look at the group policy, which is horrendous, I'm sure. Okay, so time log doesn't appear in there. So reporter access is a condition.
reporter, but that
It
yeah.
definitely does. So that's for group, and I'm doing it for group. So why?
Where are you? Can you go back to the arrow?
Yeah, that's
So that's failing at named policy reporter access.
oh, wait a minute. That's the policy that it's looking for, not the permission.
Yep.
So I think that I've got my arguments the wrong way around. I wonder if reporter access should be first.
Well, if you have a look at can.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to try it first and then rid of this annoying window that keeps getting in the way. Yeah, permission, then yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And pasta is ready.
Awesome. Well, it hasn't errored on that. If I did a group that I haven't got permission to, hopefully it'll work. Yeah, I'm going to write push up a draft, circle back to write some specs if you don't beat me to it or someone else doesn't beat me to it.
Well, you have the back end, I have the front end, so you choose the wrong haystack or
No. I mean, you've got to write specs for your front end stuff as well. So we both.
Yeah, but mine's will be. I don't want to say it because I'm going to shoot myself on the foot.
Yeah, ours will both be very hard. Awesome. Thanks as always, Marco.